Hello and welcome to my reaction video for The Crown Season 1 episode number 8 titled Pride and Joy. It scored 8.5 on IMDb and that's from 2,400 votes. Of course I haven't seen the episode, but I can guess that the content is going to be about Elizabeth and Margaret. I think the quote comes from King George. I mean, I know he did say this. I think the title comes from what he used to say about his two daughters, that they were his, Elizabeth was his pride and Margaret was his joy. So I'm going to guess this will be an episode focused on the conflict between them. So I'm eager to see if that guess is correct. Please join me in a moment after the introduction when I will give you my reaction to The Crown, Season 1, Episode number 8. Trying to think what this would be for, what event this might be about. She seems sad. What's going on?
Ask my daughters to come and see me.
Does she have some news? Seems like she might have some news.
Speeches for Papa about Papa. I would like to do it.
Eulogy?
Right, I do it. I think you don't enjoy public speaking, whereas I do. And I was Papa.
Oop, oop.
What? Favourite? Mummy, you decide then. The head of the family.
So Margaret was the
She's not head of the family.
greatest among equals.
I am.
Quite a large cast. Not quite of thousands, but great framing. Look at the way that frame is composed. It's all black, except for her in the middle. That's tough.
It's an approach which I would favour too. She's not ready for something on this scale. She's not been up to it.
Image playing over Churchill's face.
I've been working a great deal with organza, crepe de chine, and shantung silk.
Is that a real
We also
location?
wanted to feature something
Harrods?
particular to each visit. So, on Her Majesty's arrival in Sydney, we propose a white organza dress scattered with pale yellow wattle blossom.
I don't mind it.
Nobody wants to face it or deal with it, so they send us out on the Commonwealth Roadshow.
A very wise
By
comment.
giving it titles are preposterous enough, the mythology incomprehensible enough, then all must still be fine. Are we nearly finished yet?
Right, Napoleon said men love their medals.
Here already.
Besides, I had rather hoped to disappear up to Scotland for a while. And Margaret could deputise for me.
He's not thrilled with that idea.
I feel quite unanchored with that.
Yes, but it's what we agreed to do to help your sister.
She needs someone strong in her life. Is this episode going to be about the father? King George? Seems like it. His absence, how it affects everyone?
Why should I have a guilty conscience? Have a think.
Find some reason.
Too much character, an excess of character. Now look at me and tell me. Just remember who you're standing in for when I'm gone. My characterless sister. You're a queen, not a showgirl.
Touche.
Let them look at you, but let them see only the eternal.
You see the icon, not the person.
Thank you, Winston.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Where do you want to rest?
Certainly not. I've been sitting for hours. I want a nice long walk. Or better still, a ride.
So what's going to develop? It feels like a subplot. They're not going to show her arriving and doing all this horse riding without it leading to some sort of plot development.
Well, you're welcome to stay any time to get away from it all. You'd soon grow sick of me. You know what they say, guests and fish.
It's a Benjamin Franklin saying.
You could become a neighbor.
Has it been very difficult?
It has.
Being open and honest.
Matchsticks.
Ready for you, man. Give her a chance.
He was really sticking up for her.
8 minutes, not 9, not 7. Oh, here we go again, waving like lunacy. With any luck, one day they'll all own television sets and they won't come out like this again.
Brian's really wearing on Philip. And he's taking it worse than Elizabeth, it seems like.
And ask Colonel Charteris if he'd be so kind as to come and see me in the morning.
That's not boding well.
I was wondering if I might make 1 or 2 minor adjustments of the text.
Ma'am.
Give it a bit more colour. Make it feel a bit more like me. Breathe a little life into it.
I'm sure Her Royal Highness appreciates.
He's like flashing red lights. Red light, warning, warning!
People.
I have a feeling she's gonna extemporize. Freewheel! Remember Tommy Lissau's look when the Queen suggested her sister take her place?
My dramatic green fields, thick with vegetation, and the subtle rhythms of dancing and
It's
singing,
like, cut it.
is what I see as I look out from this stage tonight.
Okay, it's not going as bad as I
As
thought.
I
I'm still
look
waiting
out
for her to
for
say it
you
outwards.
tonight. Oh, and of course, Sir Charles Peake and his wife from Greece. A country which has brought us many things. Philosophy, democracy, my brother-in-law.
No, now we're in danger. Disaster
So to all of
territory.
you, I say we will have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
And a comment about her brother-in-law, that'll make the press. Dazzling host, it went off, okay. I thought the comment about her brother-in-law would create controversy.
So I wouldn't worry, I have great faith in her.
Margaret,
And her ability to mess things up in the long run.
will outshine me.
That's like you.
He's seen a side of her he hadn't seen before.
It would be prudent to take a few things out. I mean, 57 Australian towns in 58 days. Maybe we don't visit all of them.
That's a caring husband. That's the mark of a caring husband.
How long will it take?
I'm allowed 2 hours.
2 hours in 100-degree heat.
I could ask them to increase the van driving speed a little, but I think the horses might struggle.
No, we'll be fine. Thank you.
And that struggle again about duty and personal livelihood. And Philip wants to see the livelihood of his wife, but Elizabeth wants to fulfill her duty as queen. Oh, great. Great shot. Plastered on, smiling face. Philip's not pretending. Now, give the royal wave.
I don't think so.
Yes. It's your face. It's very familiar.
Doesn't know it's the Queen Mother.
Don't say a thing, it'll come.
He doesn't know it's the Queen Mother because she's dressed very down, dressed down. Ah, terrible. I don't want to see this.
Hold still, please.
Oh, this is awful. Why didn't you tell me? Oh. Okay, done. I hate needles.
And are you missing your sister, Her Majesty the Queen?
Not quite as much, no.
Every time she speaks,
Why not did you say
it's on pins and needles.
that you missed me?
Who is it you think you'll be letting down anyway? A koala? This whole thing is a circus. It's a miserable circus.
I'm on his side in this
Trudging
case.
from town to town with a dancing
Oh, she's looking terrible. Wow.
No, I'm taking back this small pleasure. You've taken away too much.
No. Those things will kill you.
Oh, this is going to be
Not today.
Shut up.
there's going to be a row.
What is it you want to hear him say? Now, finally, I love you more than I love Mom.
He's
Oh, let me
kicking
get
right at it. Oh, oh, jeez.
Don't you dare!
Oh, jeez. Time to walk back in. I think they'll get away with it. No? I think they'll get away with it. It's a time... I think they'll get away with it. It's still a time where the journalists aren't bloodthirsty.
Now, what would you like me to do? For your newsreel?
Like, I'm okay with this. I believe in the freedom of the press, but look,
Another gift for your Majesty.
right, they're being asked, they're not being commanded, they're going to do it.
My mother is in Scotland.
So I gather. But I sent someone to bring her back.
Oh, that'll be disappointing to her.
Right away.
I've come up with something
okay.
I think is a fair price for this magnificently situated castle. £100.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that too dear?
No, it's absurd.
Oh, God. The
She
question
can't-
is, are you sure?
She can't buy it at that price because people will think that it's corrupt. Someone was doing with corrupt intent. There's no way. That's a funny little subplot. Very cute.
He's finally come to you.
Why on earth didn't you say? Wow.
So I enjoyed.
Because people always make such a fuss.
She enjoyed being normal.
I would like to refer to Malta as my island of happy memories.
So they stayed there after first getting married. Stayed there for 2 years, I think.
Typed for your approval. Thank you.
And she has said that it was one of the happiest times in her life.
Pulling out at this late hour will make us look weak. And it would be a great disappointment to the people of Gibraltar. I say we go.
I say we don't.
Well, she's going to win this one.
Have you ever thought how it must be for me?
Many times. At great length. Wistfully.
You have a role, a clear set of rules. All you have to do is follow them.
Margaret, you have freedom. All you have to do is enjoy it.
You think that I'm free?
Two people don't understand each other.
Constantly in your
Do I have your word that those apologies will be made? We can help you draft letters or make statements. No need.
Cut the air with a knife now. So tense. I gotta say goodbye to your sister? What's going on? Interesting, they finished on the Queen Mother there. Okay, so join me in a second. I'll give you my review of the episode. And welcome back. I want to limit my review for this episode on Duke of Edinburgh. Do we refer to him as Prince Philip? I feel like we refer to him as Prince Philip. I forget now what it is. I know he's the Duke of Edinburgh. And the reason why I feel this is worthy of discussion, my research for the episode, so from comments on Reddit and the review of the episode that was done by Abby Research, a YouTube channel that does commentary on television shows, among other things. Their target of ire seemed to be Philip. And from what I can tell, and I don't want to create a straw man argument, but their criticism about Philip seemed to imply that he was complaining out of self-interest in the episode. And so the fight that happens between him and Elizabeth occurred because he was tired of being on tour, unhappy about being subservient to her, the Queen, and all that frustration became expressed through his complaining and through that fight later on. And by the way, that fight was real. My reading of the behind the scenes for Crown, season 1 of The Crown, which I will link to in the show notes. I can't remember the exact title. I think it's behind the Crown, behind the scenes of The Crown. That fight really happened, and the people that were filming the Queen and the Duke were an Australian film crew that were making a documentary with her permission on her visit to Australia. And they were there to record her going off into the forest area and seeing some koalas that were going to be there. That's why Philip talks about, oh, what's the worst thing that happens because we've taken so long? We miss seeing the koalas. They were supposed to go out and have filmed footage of them seeing the koalas. And because they were ready for that, as soon as she stepped outside the door, they got the camera rolling and they captured that fight. So all that was real. But to get back to that fight, my take on it is that Philip is being portrayed as a complex character. And I've commented upon how much I like the writing of this series. And that is one of the things I like about the writing is that they present three-dimensional characters. Three-dimensional meaning you can see conflicted areas in their nature. They may have a drive for one thing, and then pursue something else that conflicts with that drive. Or they may appear to be self-centered here, but then they do something that seems to be very selfless. And I think in Philip, we're getting opposing drives. He doesn't like being subservient to the Queen. He's unhappy doing that tour, but at the same time, he also is concerned about her health and well-being. And I think both of those things are expressed. And the fight occurs when he suggests cutting back on the tour because Elizabeth is snapping about Margaret. And he sees that although she may feel jealous normally, the tour has worn her down so much that she is being more sensitive to her sister's actions than normal. And I think that precipitates the fight. And then what amplifies the fight is also some of his underlying issues with his role as the consort of the Queen. So that's where we get the opposing drives. The drive to be the nurturing husband, and then the drive also to be the strong male within the family, and the insecurity that happens because her role as queen necessitates him being subservient to her in the public forum. And this episode also plays with that duality between the private life of Elizabeth and the public life of the Queen, and how those two are always conflicting. And we see that this is one instance of that conflict between Philip and the Queen. And I just wanted to point that out. I think I see more of a beneficent role to Philip in this episode than others have in my research for their commentary on Reddit and in Abby Research, that YouTube channel. And that's the main point I wanted to comment on the episode. So I'll leave it there. Short but sweet, hopefully. So until next time, take care, and I'll see you again. Goodbye.